So it's currently May, and we're closing in on the release date for Wuthering Waves. And now I feel like it's a good time to mention the things that I really want either in the game when it launches or implemented as soon as possible into the game, so that it feels more enjoyable and a lot less shittier than like the Genshin Impact experience, right? So what are the things that I want in the game? First off, and this is the biggest thing that I want in the game, I could probably not get the other two things that I'm going to mention, and if I get this, I'll be pretty happy for like a grand majority of my Wuthering Waves experience, and that is good co-op. Please, Kuro Games, please implement a good co-op system. From the beta tests, I think I didn't see any co-op gameplay. I'm not even sure if the game has co-op, but if it has co-op, because it is competing with Genshin Impact, right? If the game has co-op, please make sure the co-op is good. We need good servers so that you don't lag when fighting bosses with your friends, so that when you play with other people, all your dodges are crisp, so that walking around in combat doesn't suck, so the combat can actually shine while you're playing with other people, with your friends. We need to have shared collectibles, so things like I'm gonna use quotation marks, the geoculi of the game, so the actual collectibles, things that actually help you progress, that are unique. We need to be able to help other people collect them in their worlds as well. There needs to be a system that allows me to collect these things and help out my friends collect these things as well, and not have the Genshin Impact system where all I can do is run up to it, call my friend over, leave the map so that they can actually pick it up or some shit, because that system is annoying. Please, we need to have shared questing, co-op questing, whatever you want to call it. We need to be able to do quests together, because honestly, if the game starts piling up quests for a very long time for both of us, I want to be able to at least do those quests with my friend. It's a lot easier to go through like story content, lots of story content, even like side quest content with your friends. It's just more enjoyable. I don't want to have to like sit in Discord or sit on a call, sit on party, and like wait until my friend finishes whatever he's doing so that then I can join him, because either I was ahead or he was ahead of me. So I had this thing where you have to sit and wait for the person to catch up to you so that you can play together again. It's very shitty. Please implement co-op questing. Please let us be able to quest and help people's quests during the game at any point, at any period, right? And also co-op exploration. Again, I mentioned this because Genshin Impact has a system where if you are in someone else's world, they can't pick up the Statue of the Seven. So whatever opens the map in Wuthering Waves, I want you to be able to open that while you're still in the person's world, and not have to leave the world, then come back once they've collected it, right? Because it just ruins the pace of gameplay. Could be exploring together and stuff like that, but now you gotta leave and then come back because the map won't open as much because you're in the world. So please make everything just smooth as possible for a co-op experience. I want the co-op experience to be very good. I want to be able to experience and enjoy the game with my friends, help them push through any of the boring content, any of the dead patches, to like enjoy the game more, like be able to actually play the game. Because in Genshin, if you feel like if there's a lot of content that you're missing, it's been a while since you play the game, and you feel that whatever content you're doing, whatever story quest you're doing is boring, I guarantee you doing any of that content with your friend at the same time, right? Like progressing them or helping them progress through all the boring stuff that you probably pushed through, right? It'll be a 1,000 times easier, a million times easier to go through all of that content if you could just do it together. So please, pro games, implement a system that allows for good co-op. We want good co-op. Co-op would down all of the unnecessary like slog that comes with having to deal with the majority of the shit that comes with like this type of game coming from a Genshin Impact player. So the next thing I want in the game is a skip button, and this is pretty much self-explanatory, right? If you find whatever story that you're playing is boring, you probably want to skip through it so that you can actually get back to gameplay. Because as much as the gameplay might be great, but yeah, actually, let me rephrase. The gameplay might be amazing, but there's always gonna be that one quest that you always feel like, this shit is extremely tedious, extremely boring. No matter what company it is, there's always gonna be that one quest, right? And from what I've heard of Core Games' story for Wuthering Waves is that it's okay, right? So it's likely that there are gonna be multiple side quests that do have this feeling of just having to push through it because of how boring it is. Please just implement a skip button. Please just have us save the time and like enjoy your game. Like skip all the boring dialogue that we don't want to sit through, all these side characters that we don't care about. Skip through it so that we can actually play more of the game and enjoy the game more and actually make more content. Because honestly, we're not reading it anyway. We're already skipping through it most likely. If it is boring, we're just gonna start pressing shit and then skip past it. Just implement a skip button, make our lives a lot easier, make the quality of the life of the game a lot easier. Just implement the skip button, make it a lot easier on everyone, because yeah, we don't want to have to sit through this shit. We've already sat through the shit with Genshin, and likely if the quality of life of Wuthering Waves is a lot better than the quality of life of Genshin Impact, it'll just make the game a lot more enjoyable just in general, like throughout the starting patches. So please implement the skip button, makes our lives a lot easier. Again, please just do it. It's very good. Not even Honkai Impact has it. Honkai Impact have asked a skip button, where the skip button only works if you've already seen the content on, like, the content you're going through on your account, and not if you make a new account or if you're just now doing that content, right? So you've already had to seen the content before you can actually skip through it. So just implement the skip button or like a super fast forward or something, please. Now the next thing I want for Wuthering Waves is actually pretty specific, and that's new weapon classes to be implemented in the game in the further date, right? I want them to actually put in the effort of implementing new weapon types later on in the game instead of just kind of repeating the same weapon archetype after we've hit limit, right? And I say this specifically because if you look at Genshin Impact, and honestly I'm gonna compare it to Genshin Impact as much as possible, they are competitors, but if you look at Wuthering Waves compared to Genshin Impact has a problem with this. In Genshin, there are 4 Claymore Pyro characters, 5 Pyro Spear characters, 4 Hydro Calyx characters, 5 Hydro Sword characters, and these are just the ones that off the top of my head repeat the most. Please implement new weapon types later on in the game and not just cheese it like Genshin Impact, because Genshin Impact half-asses it, and the character that's supposed to use a scythe, which is the newest character, Arlecchino, uses a spear, and the character that's supposed to use an axe, which was the Geo character that came out a couple of patches ago, she uses a claymore. Like, why not just implement a new weapon type with new animations, right? Like, you guys, if it's further on into the game, this is why I specifically mentioned later on into the game. Later on into the game, having new weapon types is gonna be new content, right? It's gonna be more content. Like, I know characters aren't content, right? But a new weapon type will be content, because even if you don't get the character that drops with that weapon, more characters are going to drop with that weapon type, that now you have something to expect from like the weapon type, right? Because even characters in Genshin Impact that are supposed to use punches and kicks either use a book or have the punches and kicks implemented into whatever weapon they're using, like Dia and Ito, which honestly, it was kind of cool, but now it just feels like they're half-assing it, bro. Because why not just implement a new weapon type and like make it a lot more interesting, make actual new content instead of just finding bullshit ways to half-ass the shit, because it's just very annoying. Please just later on in the game make sure to give us new weapon types and stuff like that. It will spice up the game. It will be new content, even if you don't get the exact character that drops with that new weapon type. I mean, it is gonna become new content eventually. It's like if you implement it, new characters will then expect newer characters to have that weapon type. It's pretty simple. And then the next one, which is kind of related to the first issue that I mentioned, is that filling out all the character / element weapon combos before repeating elements and weapon combinations. I mentioned before, like Genshin has a problem where it has 4 claymores, 5 spears, 5 pyro spears, 4 pyro claymores, 4 hydro catalysts, 5 hydro sword characters, but it does not have a like hydro claymore character, right? Why is this? It's because Genshin keeps repeating the same weapon type, bro. The claymore pyro user has been repeated so much that there's 2 5-stars and 2 4-stars of this archetype, bro, and both genders as well. So please have us have one of everything first, then repeat. Because why the hell are you repeat? Please don't do the thing Genshin did and repeat like as soon as possible. We want to see every archetype filled out first before you start implementing differences between like the newer characters, right? Before we have the same character that uses guns and is fire, but now is a 5-star. Please implement something different before we have to go back and repeat the same type, the same character archetype, or the same character like element and weapon combination again. I don't want it. It gets so irritating to find out that the new character is just a combination of a weapon that you've already seen, because now you kind of have it. Yeah, you kind of you kind of know exactly what the character is gonna do most likely for their basic. Honestly, can mix it up with skills and ultimate, but it's just annoying. So please make sure we fill out every type of character archetype before we actually start repeating things again and again and again and again, or we're gonna end up with the Genshin problem where we have 5 characters that use the same weapon and they're the same element before we even get one element with one weapon type. So just to avoid. And finally, something that Genshin actually doesn't do anymore. It actually did it once, but it's likely that Kura Games would be more willing to do this, right, in order to bring in more people, and that's collaborations or crossovers. Honestly, we all know what happened with Aloy, and pretty sure after Aloy, Genshin Impact has just been scared to bring in guest characters or do crossovers, even with their own IP, because Genshin crosses over with a lot of things, but nothing ever crosses over from Genshin ever since Aloy dropped, right? So I'd be happy to see if Kuro Games actually managed to get some crossover stuff, make it as much as you might hate crossover stuff, as much as you might not like whatever anime they might be crossing over with, or whatever series or whatever costumes they have for a crossover, or whatever character does actually come in from that crossover. You can't deny that crossovers do have a thing that brings in new people, right? It makes people want to play the game more. I'm pretty sure there's people that went back to Tower of Fantasy after it got an Evangelion crossover. Crossovers just bring in new people. So if Genshin isn't taking advantage of that, then maybe Kuro Games can take advantage of that. I'm not saying it has to be as soon as possible, but it should be something that they do take advantage of. So please, Kuro Games, don't be like Genshin Impact and think that crossovers are just this horrible thing that's gonna mess up the game. They should at least try and like take feedback of how to implement crossovers properly. I will have videos of like theory crafting some possible crossovers, so stay tuned for that. So, but anyways, again, thank you for watching the video. Do all that YouTube stuff. Please like, subscribe, and share the video. It helps me a lot. And yeah, let's hope any one of these things that I mentioned actually gets implemented into Wuthering Waves. That'll make the game a lot better in my. So I'll see you.